You find time to eat. You find time to pay your bills. You find time to work, and you need to find time to work out. I'm miserable. I can't physically do things. I'm super moody. I don't sleep well. I crave garbage foods. If you're not exercising kind of all the time, your diet is just screwing with you. If that isn't locked in and figured out, and you're not doing it pretty good 6 days a week, I can't help you. I don't see, there's no reason not to start, everybody. And so how are you on this lovely Tuesday evening? Hope you're all pretty well. There's a couple of things, back in the day for a short while, for like 6 months, I did some Tony talks and I ran out of stuff to say. But that's not true. But there were some things that have popped in my head recently, and I thought I'd do a little short tutorial about 3 things in particular that have really sort of stuck out for me personally lately, and maybe you'll be able to relate to this to some degree. And then I had a bunch of questions that have been coming my way through social media, and I thought I would just attack them all because they're kind of interesting. I think some of you will be surprised by my answers. Here comes Charlie. I thought he was going to blow away in the wind out there. So, I've got guys and gals come in here, 6 days a week to work out, and all kinds of conversations come up, and people are asking me questions about this, that, and the other. And then I'm not sure who it was. It might have been Andy Lawrence. He was saying, okay, dude, if you had, there's health and there's wellness and there's fitness and there's exercise and there's float and mobility and then there's diet and there's balance and there's speed work, because we're running the hills now. Hi, Lola. How are you? And, if you had to pick 3 off the top of your head, now these are the 3 that just popped into my head, not because they were my top 3 so much as they were just the 3 that I've been sort of thinking about lately and focusing on and making sure that I'm consistent with. Anybody want to do a drum roll? And the first one is diet. Okay, so like no surprise there. But when I look at everything that I do, now look, I've got ninja courses and pull-up bars and peg boards, and I work out 6 days a week, and I do my yoga on Fridays, and I do my plyo on Wednesdays, and I do my cardio last night, plus running hills. And I pulled my hamstring, yay, because I was trying to break my best time and didn't, because halfway up the hill, my hamstring went, and whatever, lesson learned. Because other guys like, well, we're done, because I had one more I wanted to kind of do, and everybody else was kind of finished. They said, we'll just run with you. And so they're starting to pass me. And I wish they hadn't ran with me, because it's like the ego went, no, nobody passes me on my fastest time. And then I felt my left one just start to go, and I stopped immediately. So it's sore today, but I'm not limping around the house. And that has nothing to do with what I'm talking about. But, so I have all these things that I try to do. And it's funny, and maybe a lot of you have noticed this, if you're following the journey of health and wellness with a certain amount of vim and vigor, that as you get older, it turns out that there's a myriad, a cornucopia, a panoply of things that you have to keep adding to your agenda day in and day out, week in and week out, month after month and year after year. You know what I mean? And we're talking about variety. We're talking about new dietary shifts, listening to your body, knowing when to chill out, knowing when to kind of, intensify, knowing when to modify, knowing when to take days off. You know what I mean? A lot of times, if you're not listening and you're just kind of following old patterns, like you're still back in high school or college, you're going to run into a lot more problems, So these are the 3 things that popped into my head based on all that. Like, how do I continue to kick ass and take names at 66? Moisturizing, coffee is one of them. Good hair gel. I think this, as you can see, I went all in tonight. But people will often ask me, like, well, what is it between, and everybody wants to break it up into diet and exercise. And so, which is more important? And ultimately, and I've said this a million times, and I'm sorry if look at all that. Look at all that information on the right-hand side. So some of you might be wanting to take some of this down. We're looking at I'm going to talk about Paragon. Obviously, that's part of what we're here to talk about as well. But we've got a lot of information to the right there, where it is, what it is. By the way, I don't know if there's if you want to know more about Paragon, go to paragonexp.com. It's just Paragon EXP. And some of you here have already been to Paragon and you know what it is, and it's been life-changing for some of you, and this will continue to be that. So, when I was thinking about the things that I really need to hone in on, the things that I really need to get right almost all of the time, And it's my diet, it's my supplement intake, it's stress management, and it's flexibility. And that's kind of where I am. And now still, I'm still pushing the envelope. Like today we did, how many said we did 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 28 sets of shoulders and arms. Why not do a couple extra? Normally it's 24. And that's always going to be like, that's just automatic for me. But, and maybe some of you are not aware of this. I'll get into the supplement stuff first. Our bodies are aging, and I talk about it when I was working with Golden Hippo, the people who made in past tense. I'll get into that in a second. Yeah, it's a little story to tell you there. We talked about sarcopenia, which was a real thing. And anybody here over the age of 50? Raise your hand. I can't. There's a lot of names, but no faces. So yeah, hello. So sarcopenia is real, and it's really hard to maintain muscle mass, and you've got to do so many things right all the time. And your diet and your supplements have a lot to do with how you're going to succeed there, right? So how much protein, how much creatine, how much, chromium, vitamin D3, yada, 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 all the things that you might need, astaxanthin and other little things, to hydrate your water, to deal with inflammation. You know what I mean? What's going on with your digestive tract? I used to say tract. Sean used to go crazy. It's tract. Weird. And I still call it a spatula, which it's really a spatula. I don't know. I'm from New England. What can I do? Um, Still got the accent. It's still sneaking through. And so what I've noticed lately, I'm plant-based. Scott Morgan's plant-based. Maybe some of you are plant-based. And the reason why I had to go plant-based for me, and anybody, whether you're plant-based or vegetarian or vegan, which is plant-based, but plant-based, when I say plant-based, it gives me more options than as opposed to vegan, which to me in my mind seems a little bit more strict. But whoever it is and whatever you're doing and however you're doing it, you need a whole lot of foods and supplements that bring inflammation down. You know what I mean? So what's happening, a lot of people who are suffering from Alzheimer's and Parkinson's and stroke and hypertension and type 2 diabetes and you name it, every cancer under the sun, it's partly because of genetics. It's partly because of your environment. And I'll get into the stress part because stress is your environment. Also also your company and the people you work with and friends and family and how you deal with them and how they deal with you and all that kind of things are causing stress. But that's harder to control because there are elements outside of yourself that are causing stress, people and events, and whatever it is, politics that cause stress for some folks. And that requires some meditation and some breath work and just some personal development skills to help you get through our world better. But getting back but the things you can control absolutely are what you put in your mouth. Like, how do you control your hands and your mouth? And if you control them in such a way where the vast majority of what you're putting in your mouth is not inflammatory in nature, which is typically vegetables. Now, some people have problems with tomatoes and some people have problems with whatever, cashews or sesame seeds or whatever it is. I had so much blood work done. It's like I got vampires in every closet here ready to suck my blood. Because when I give it up, and I also give up my urine and I give up my saliva and I give up my poop, just because I want to know what's going on. And these are experts and they tell me what's happening and based on me secreting various things into tubes and petri dishes and however it goes. And I think a lot of how I'm able to keep doing what I'm doing is because of all that blood work. We'll just call all those categories blood work, which has told me what is causing inflammation inside of my body and what is not. And for me, because I'm a bit of a robot and a bit of a stickler, and I'm kind of persnickety, and I want to live for a long time. I'm just a fan of planet Earth, man. This place is so damn cool. I mean, there's so many things you can do, and the only reason why you can do any of it is if you've got to control these and that first before you start exercising. Because what happens is if you're just going to do the exercise thing and use exercise as a means of sort of make improvement without the diet, you're just a gerbil in the wheel, man. It's just you're going to get really frustrated. You're not going to get the results that you want. And of course, there's the aesthetic part of it. You know what I mean? I was reading an article very recently that said if you're eating whatever and you're not exercising at all, you're not even remotely tapping in to the to the stores, the fat stores, and the other kinds of, you know, whether it's subcutaneous fat or whether it's visceral fat or whatever kind of fat you're trying to get after, if you're not exercising kind of all the time, your diet is just screwing with you. And so, you know, you can look in the mirror on day 1, day 30, day 60, day 90 and go, what happened? It's because a lot of the food that you're eating, because maybe partly because you're not exercising enough, is it's just not getting burned off. There's just too many, it's too much calories coming in and not enough calories going out. And so when I eat vegetables, you know, and I'll get into, you know, some of these questions where people are like, what, how do you eat? What do you do? What do you eat? What's your daily diet look like? And it changes from day to day, depending on where I am. If I'm on vacation, Sean and I were in Rome and London and Paris. We ate everything, man. And we came back, each came back 7 pounds lighter because we were riding bikes and walking everywhere. And the food over there is not the food over here. You know what I mean? You can look at a package of, say, Reese's Pieces here and there, and it's all artificial colors and chemicals and garbage and things that your body just causes tons of inflammation. And when you go to Europe and you look at it, it's like beet juice and lemon rinds and other things that are from nature that are in the same dang Reese's here, Reese's there, not the same. So if you're you know, if you're struggling with inflammation and digestive issues and losing fat and getting brain fog and whatever, there's a lot of people who are kind of feel like what I went through when I had Ramsay-Hunt syndrome. They're just sort of out of it, maybe more so than ever. You know, is it that 5G? Is it that those high tension wires above my house? You know, I don't know what the heck it is. But I'm saying that if you're taking in the right supplements, because supplements theoretically are to fill the gaps for where you're missing out on your diet. You know what I mean? So, you know, as a plant-based guy, and one of the things I want to talk about is, well, plant-based, you're not getting enough protein. I'm going to read this list to you. And when you hear this list, and these are all vegetables and beans and nuts, and you're going to find out how much protein is in each and every one of them. Now, I eat this stuff every day, and I'll get into that in a second. That's part of my food and supplement piece. So the supplements are there to help you recover, to help you heal, to hopefully bring some of the inflammation down and fill in the gaps for maybe the diet that you're not getting. Because, you know, you could be eating really good, but you're grilling your vegetables all the time. You know, that black stuff that tastes so good that's just not, there's no nutrition in charred food. Zero. I don't care if it's a piece of asparagus or a piece of elk tenderloins. If it's got black on it, there's something called AGEs, which is just, it's perfect because it spells aging, basically. It's just really nasty and really bad for you and super carcinogenic and bummer because it tastes so flipping good. Life is hard. You know what I mean? So this is just me. I'm an anomaly. I mean, I just am. Because, you know, when I was getting ready to go to Jackson Hole for 6 weeks, I worked out like those were the last days on earth because, I mean, I was working my legs 3 days a week. And, you know, when I go to Jackson Hole, I can start at the top and go to the bottom, and I'm not tired, and I have no lactic acid in my legs because of the supplements I'm taking, because of the training that I'm doing, and because of the plant-based foods that I eat. When I have that locked in, I can go do incredible things. I can get on a bike with Shauna on the Appian Way. It's a thing that Caesar built from Rome all the way down to the heel of the boot, where he just crucified all the people he murdered, whatever. You know what I mean? But you know, those were the Romans. They were intense. But the Appian Way, the cobblestones are like bowling balls. Like, didn't they have any flat rocks back then? I don't know why. So the whole time, you know, and there are other people who just couldn't do it. You know, they started and they quit. And we finished the whole tour, 4.5 hours on our bikes on the Appian Way, even though, you know, the rest of the day we were still doing this. But, you know, the reason why I talk about this is I want to have a full, amazing, incredible life filled with a bunch of neat stuff that I want to go do. And that, for example, is what the Paragon experience is. And I'll get into the details in that at the end of my conversation. Right? Because there's going to be ninja courses, and there's going to be workouts, and there's going to be yoga, and there's going to be rock climbing walls. And there's going to be all these things. And maybe you'll be able to do some of them, and maybe you won't. But but one thing about Paragon is there are a lot of people who've been to a lot of these Paragon events who were scared to death and somehow found the courage to come, assuming it was going to be a nightmare. And yeah, and there were a lot of things that they couldn't physically do, but they learned 100,000 times more in the course of 3 or 4 days than they had in their whole lifetime, because it's me and it's Tasha Danvers and it's all our super trainers. Tracy Moore is going to be speaking in the next one. Michelle Pettis, who's lost and gained over 700 pounds and has found an eating philosophy that I think is going to blow your mind when you meet her. I was on a Zoom call just like this with her, and I was just so blown away by who she is and her journey. And I think a lot of you will be able to relate to her and her strategies for getting the weight off and keeping the weight off without feeling deprived every friggin' day is kind of amazing. I don't want to give it away because I want her to be able to tell that story for those of you that come. So food and supplements helps you beat your natural body weight. If it's mostly plant-based, you can still have your steak. You can still have your brownie. There was a hot chocolate chip cookie coming out of an oven. You don't think I'm not going to eat that thing? I'm just not going to eat 9. You know what I mean? And I'm not going to eat them all the time. I'm just like, it's like a little, so here I am. Here's my very restricted diet plan. And every once in a while, oh, there's cookie. Oh, medium rare elk medallions. Was that wild salmon? These are like little release valves so I can begin to enjoy some of those comfort foods I had as a kid and when I didn't know better. All right, so that's the food and supplement piece. If that isn't locked in and figured out and you're not doing it pretty damn good 6 days a week, I can't help you. I can't. I cannot. I can show you all the exercises. I can have Michael Bradley and make you do animal flow. I can have Steve Holmson make you work out and do rehab all in the same time. You can do the Power 4. You can do PowerSync 60 that's all set up specifically for whether pre, post, perimenopausal. You get those sequences, get those calendars. But if your diet and your supplements are half-ass, you know what I mean? Nothing, right? So how do you find the discipline to be able to do that for the rest of your life? This is everything about I'm talking about is for the rest of your life. Let's say it's going to start today. Now I could get into the details on how I do it, blah, 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 but I'm not, because I want you to come to Paragon and I want you to sit there in the audience and I want you to listen to Michelle Pettis and have your mind blown. Or maybe it'll be video and you'll get to see the video down the road if you can't come. I understand. Number 2 on my list on tonight's Tony Talks. Stress, physical, mental, and emotional stress. Raise your hand if you deal with any of those things. Yeah. Who has no stress at all? Garrett, he's a pastor. He should have no stress. He's got the man above. So I don't want to hear anything from you, pal. All right. But even with the man above, or even if you've got, like me, I'm a breath work guy. Shauna, my lovely, amazing, perfect Christian wife, she's got prayer, she doesn't meditate, but she does breath work. So she's found her combination that seems to really help her. And we're under a lot of stress. The Hortons are right now. It's like the pool, the doors and windows, the fires that came within 300 feet of that end of my house. Like my hill, if you've ever been in my house, remember that building? If you've been in my house, remember all those green, beautiful hills? They ain't green anymore. It looks like the dark side of the moon was on fire. But now now that we've got a lot of rain, there's little grass is starting to grow, but there's just charred 30-foot trees for miles back there. So that caused a little bit of stress. We had some stress as a result of that. And we're coming back around a lot. We got back to the house. And luckily we didn't have a lot of soot and we didn't have a lot of, toxic junk. We've got these fancy air purifiers in the house upstairs and down, which seem to be helping a little bit. But a lot of houses, we know 8 families, no homes, gone. Just nothing, 0. And so they're living in, New Orleans, or they're living in Park City, Utah, or they're living, in Orange County here. They're just, there's a lot of things out there that cause a lot of stress. And so I'm going to bring it up now. And maybe you guys have seen, I have it posted on my bulletin board because I want to look over there and remind myself that these are the things that I need to do to mitigate stress. Now there's mindfulness and there's rest and recovery. And so they're all designed to help bring your stress down. I'm going to read my list, and I want you to raise your hand when you hear one of these words, when that's a thing that you do to help you with stress. Top of my list is listening to music. Everybody knows about vibroacoustic meditation. I'm working with a couple of guys on these devices that that vibrate and have red light therapy and all different kind of things. But there's also a music component to it. So for me, music completely changes. Anybody else on the music? I see a thumbs up there from Tina. Music is gold. I live in an area where I can go for a walk, and I have hills here. Anybody like, uh-oh, I'm not dealing with stuff. We get outside, 5 minutes in one direction, 5 minutes in back. I'm a completely different person. Because if I'm sitting here and I'm stewing, or I'm watching TV, whatever, it doesn't work. So walking. Who has a pet? Where's Charlie Bear? Where are you, buddy? Are you in here? There's that boy. That dog. I don't need everything else. The rest of this list I don't need. All I need is that dog. Last night, watching the tube, he just came over and he put his head on my lap. I would have stayed there for 6 months if he didn't want to move, because he's the boss. If you want to sit there and you want to put your head on my lap, he just looks at me. I can feel my blood pressure coming down. So Charlie is huge. I took a nap today because I wanted to be fresh for this conversation. And last night, I don't know, I think my meal, I had beans and rice, and that was still working on me. Even 3 hours before I went to bed. So I didn't really sleep very well last night. So I took a nap, and I used to take a nap and feel all guilty about it. But, I've said it a million times. You're going to take a nap. 20 minutes is max. Max. It really should be 15. If you talk to anybody in the military, Army, Air Force, Navy, Marine Corps, Coast Guard, they call them, especially Air Force, they call them fighter naps, like on aircraft carriers. You're doing these sorties, like taking off and landing, taking off and landing. And so if you're completely wasted, they'll tell you to take a fighter nap, which is 15 minutes. You set the alarm on your watch, on your phone, or whatever. When you get into like a half hour, 45-minute nap, you wake up, you don't even know what year it is. You know what I mean? You ever wake up, you're just like, oh my God, because you started that circadian cycle where you're getting past that REM sleep, and you're getting into deep sleep in the middle of the day. And so forget about going to sleep that night, because your body and brain don't know what the heck's going on. So naps are important, but they got to be short. Meditation, I'll do body scan once in a while. I don't do traditional medication. Oh my God. Meditation. And if you haven't read this book yet, and you're not dealing with stress, here I did an interview for this Business Weekly, some big shot magazine. And then I did another one. I was talking about, so here's stress. All right. Here's the John Rady book on stress, Spark. There it is. The Revolutionary New Science of Exercise in the Brain. So this is the physical way, physical movement, yoga, Pilates, martial arts, going for a run, whatever it is. Spark is a key thing. I was working out 3 to 4 times a week because I was young and my body looked pretty good, and I wasn't as fit as I am now. I'm talking 20s and 30s. 20s and 30s, not as fit as I am now, because I was only working out periodically. When you work out 2 or 3 days a week and you got the other 3 or 4 days off, you're going to get exercise bipolar disorder, because all the chemicals, the norepinephrine, the dopamine, the serotonin, the brain-derived neurotropic factor, the cannabinoids explode inside of your head. And if you don't do it all the time, they explode and they go away, and then you get sad. And then you have to, like, who's taking 3 or 4 days off? You've been consistent. And on that 5th day, it is just a bear to get back into the groove again, right? It's like, I don't know, food. Like I'm going to eat for 2 days and I'm going to skip it for 3 days. How's that going to work out for you? Not good. You know what? I'm going to pay my bills this month, but I'm not going to pay them for the next 2 months. You're evicted. You know what I mean? So work. I think I go to work when I want to go to work. I don't want to go to work all the time because fired. You know what I mean? So these are the things we do to survive, and surviving is everybody else. It ain't us. It's not. We're not here to survive. We're here to learn. We're here to grow. We're here to transform. We're here to be better. And you're going to learn all that at the Paragon times 10,000. All right. So I'm just scratching the surface here. This is stress relief number 1. This book doesn't. This is a career book, The Magic Lamp. But if you're kind of like looking to change careers or whatever, you want to, you find out what your raison d'etre is. That's French for reason for being. All right. What's your why? So I was doing stupid jobs and I read this book and I went, oh, I think I'm supposed to be a trainer. Worked out pretty well. Here's another one. This is another breath. If you haven't read James Nestor's book, Breath, important. This is all about, don't breathe through this ever again. This is not for breathing. This is for talking and eating, and that's it. If you're walking through an airport, shut the gob, because there's a lot on a plane. I've been a mouth taper for almost 3 years. Every night, right there on the mouth, because this doesn't filter anything. This does design. This is so incredible. There's like these super little tiny microscopic cells in that filter out all the dirt and the dust and the grime and the viruses and the everything. It's amazing. And And the first few nights you tape your mouth, you're going to feel like you're going to suffocate because it's going to feel really weird. And last but not least, this one saved my life after Ramsay-Hunt syndrome. Full catastrophe living. It's big. It's big. But you can see there's pages that I thought were really important. And I have this book readily available. Like the other day, I was too much into the future. I'm not an into the past guy. The water's under the bridge. Whatever happened in the past, I can't deal with that. But I'm too much into what ifs. And so I just opened up and I read a passage. I was like, oh, okay. Why am I making now bad based on my lousy expectations for the future? And this little passage, man, it's just like, oh, okay, it is what it is. Go into what it is. All right. So I don't know how you're going to deal with your stress, but here's the rest of the list, and I'll go through it here. This is kind of a meditation breath work, sun salutation. I do them in the morning, and I do it 10 minutes because I'm using air and I'm moving and I'm not drinking coffee as a means to get my brain going again. I'm oxygenating my blood and I'm also opening up my joints and my back and my neck and my legs and blah, blah, blah. And, I'm talking about inhale, exhale down, a flat back, go into plank, raise your leg, bring it through, warrior one, boom, 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 go back, downward dog, chaturanga, warrior two. And I don't do warrior three and warrior two and Baddha Konasana and all the other things. I just do warrior one over and over again for 10 minutes. I might do some side twists at the end just to kind of open up my back. And that is, to me, physical, mental, and emotional all in one in my bare feet and in my underwear. Maybe that was TMI. It's better than just sitting down, walking into your kitchen and making coffee and sitting down. And coffee is a source. It's yummy and it's lovely, and you've been doing it. Your great grandparents were doing, your parents' parents, and they were doing it back in England. I don't know, whatever. It's been in your life forever. You might want to try, just saying, 2 weeks, no coffee, 5 to 10 minutes of yoga instead, and see if that works for you. Oh, by the way, the second option is harder. All right, because if I always say it's tough until it's not. Right. Oh, that's hard. Oh, I'm not used. Yeah. Okay. Well, then keep doing what you're doing. And if you're living a dream and you're happy as hell and everything's great and a cup of coffee gets you going, you don't have any aches or pains and you sleep like a baby and you can climb Mount Everest, drink all the coffee you want. But if you find out if you've got like a lot of issues, do the sun salutation. It's the ultimate stress reliever. It wakes up your body and your mind, and it's perfect. I get in the yard all the time. I love getting in the yard. I'm lucky that I have a yard. For the first 43 years of when I was a kid, I had a yard, but I cut the grass and I hated it. I think I got paid $5. But then I lived in an apartment here in LA for 27 years, no yard. But now that I have one, I feel very lucky and very fortunate. I get out there and I'm trimming. I love the succulents. You just stick it in the ground and it grows. It's unbelievable. And that's it. I'm always trimming and cutting and planting. And today was flowers out there. I had a little help, but it was fun. And then reading, obviously. Reading. All right. I'm learning when I'm reading. If I'm not reading and I'm just watching Netflix, what am I learning really? You learn something, but it's nice to pick up a book. I just recommended 4. You have to decide whether you want to learn and grow. Because old dogs can learn new tricks. You just got to do it. All right. And then Shauna is probably my, next to music, probably, is probably my number one mindfulness thing. We have a little running joke that says, hey, honey, I go, honey, what's my job? And she'll go, oh, are you serious? I said, yeah, what's my job? Do I really have to answer this? I said, yes, you do. She said, and then she'll say, to make my life awesome. I go, that's right. That is my job. And when I'm doing things for her and I'm doing things for other, the reason why you're all here is because a long time ago, I did something nice to a guy I didn't like at all. Because I read it in this book here. It was a little lesson at the end. There's little lessons at the end of this book. And one of them was, do something nice for somebody you think is a bonehead. All right, I'll just do the lesson. And I met this guy and he was a bonehead and he didn't like me and I didn't like him. And I invited him to work out and he did. And he introduced me to Carl Deichler. And then I worked for Carl for 20 years. And I did this thing called P90X and X2 and X3 and 20 hardcore. And what the heck? All because I read a thing in a book and be nice to somebody you don't like. Like, what? So what's happening is a lot of us, we've got a lot of stress and we're not eating right. There's a lot of inflammation. Our brain isn't functioning well. And so we're in survival mode. And so much for going out of our way and doing nice things for people we even like. We don't have time. We don't have energy. I got to do my stuff. Well, the idea here is to live this lifestyle so you have enough time and energy to be able to kind of start thinking outside of you and thinking about what others need. And it's the most rewarding, incredible, amazing thing in the world. It just really is. When you find, and look, my life is very complicated, and not every day is all about taking children on hikes in the forest. That's I don't get to do that, but it's all very legal. But you know what I mean? Like, like you find time to eat. You find time to pay your bills. You find time to work. You need to find time to work out. And then you also need to find time to read, and you need to find time to do all the other mindfulness, recovery, resting things. And here's just plain recovery if you're training hard: cold plunge, sauna, foam rolling, massage, jacuzzi, compression stuff, supplements with the right protein, electrolytes, etc. Heat if you need any kind of heating pads, hydrotherapy, decent sleep. I mean, I could do 8 Tony Talks on 8-9 hours of sleep. If you're doing 6 hours, 6.5 hours, 7 hours, and you think that's doing something, and you're not losing any weight because that's 6 or 7 hours, your circadian cycle is the point where if you're shortening it, you've got REM sleep, deep sleep, REM sleep, deep sleep, and there's another one in there somewhere. And then if you're only getting 6.5, you're going to wake up starving to death, completely out of it, and craving fat, sugar, salt, and chemicals. But if you get that full 8, and everybody's different. Some people need 10. I mean, I need 9.5, 10 now, as hard as I train. And I don't always get it. And so I wake up craving garbage food. That's just the way the brain works. So that's stress management. So I don't know if you can take a picture of that little list there, but there it is. Rest, recovery, mindfulness. Can you guys all see that snapshot, that thing? That's mine. I would write down yours. I also have a to-do list: chandelier bulbs, damaged sink counter, a primary bathroom tub stopper is broken. On the back side of that. That's funny. Okay. So, flexibility. So, that's funny. You got diet, and you've got stress, and then you've got flexibility / range of motion as your third. At least that's what I am discovering is really important to me lately, because I'm seeing a lot of my friends getting hurt. They're working out, they've changed their diet, they're getting some deep sleep, but they're not doing their yoga and they're not doing stretching. And there's a company that I used to work for 20 years. They cut the warm-ups and the cool downs out, almost down to nothing. Am I right about that? Anybody know what I'm talking about? Like, they just took them out because they figured, they don't need them, or it takes too much time, or we have to get our workout in a certain frame of time. And look at P90X. So the damn workouts and cool downs are as long as the workouts themselves. Because I understand that, especially as we get older and we're not genetically flexible anyway, then you got to prepare your body to be able to go out and do the things you need to do. And I also believe, and I talked about the sun salutation as one of the mindfulness / recovery workouts. I do an hour. Mary comes when she can. What are they, Mary? They're about an hour 15, hour 20. Sometimes I go an hour and a half. I do the full kahuna, man. I do it all. And you can ask Mary and my friend Vache and whoever else rarely ever shows up, because I can get 20 people here for a plyo, a bunch of masochists, but I can't get more than 2 here to show up for yoga. I think most people, raise your hand if you do yoga every week. Once, twice, 3 times. Every week you do your yoga, raise it up. Don't fake hand. I know if you're lying or not. Yeah, good, Ralph. Good for you. And does it have to be yoga? No, but there needs to be. It could be Pilates. It could be just plain old a stretch thing. There's stretch labs that are popping up all over the country now. It's as important, for sure, absolutely, as everything else that we do physically, because if you ever notice a pendulum, it goes like this, right? Really hard, 5th and 6th gear. Where does it need to go? It will naturally go in the other direction if you let it. But if you're over here in 5th and 6th gear all the time, with poor sleep, with a lame rest, recovery, mindfulness practice, then you're going to get hurt. You're going to blow out your neck. You're going to screw up your shoulder. You're going to mess up your knees. Your lower back's going to go to crap. Your sciatica is going to burn. And then and these things become chronic because nobody here is getting younger. Nobody's getting, we're all getting older. And if you don't change it up, you don't mix it up, if you don't add more variety and you don't find ways to stretch on a regular basis, raise your hand if you can bend over with straight legs and touch the floor. Oh, good. Raise your hand if you can't. I see you over there, Sean Murray. I see you, dude, with your hand out in the air. It's super important. And if you haven't done it since you were 12, it's super hard. But you do it poorly anyway, because it's tough until it's not. The more you do, the better you get. It's tough until it's not. The more you do, the better you get. You do your best and forget the rest. I'm Johnny Phrases. Okay, I'm all about phrases. Phrases that make sense, phrases that are true, phrases that apply to you, and you, and you, and you, and you, and you. So when you get the food right, and you're taking the supplements for recovery, that's your number one move. And you don't have to lift a finger, really, just a fork or a knife or a spoon. You know what I mean? The one little thing, too, that I would say to everybody, here's the tip of the day. And I know Michelle Pettis might tap into this. Mini meals. Start eating mini meals. So look down at your plate and see what you normally eat. I don't know what size it is, and eat half. Eat half. And then wait 10 minutes to see if you need the other half. And some of the times you will. And by the way, will you feel guilty because you ate the other half 10 minutes later? No. You just wanted it and you needed it and you were still hungry, so eat it. You know what I mean? But get in the habit of half a sandwich, half a bowl of soup. You know, and if the bowl's this big, you have a normal bowl. But, you know, like I just started eating some mini meals, mini snacks. Like don't eat the whole sleeve of freaking cookies. Eat two. And then what I'll do is I have these little gluten-free and they're low glycemic and they're probably quasi-healthy, but not really. And they come in sleeves of 8. And so I'll take 2. They're only that big, not big. I take 2 out. I fold them all back up. I put them in the bag and I put the bag in the box and I put the box back in the pantry instead of leaving them out. Like take the 2 and leaving them sitting there so I can go after the other 2, 3, 4 later. And I eat the 2. And then after the 2, I'll go, okay, 10 minutes. I can hang out 10 minutes. And I don't ever want to go back and eat a third, ever. And I did when I was in Jackson Hole because I was skiing hard and yada, yada. I go, I'm going to eat that third cookie. I fell asleep 5 minutes later. I thought, it's just too much of the wrong thing. Refined flour. You know, there ain't no high fiber chocolate chip cookies that I'm aware of. And I certainly didn't have one that night. Hi, Brian. Is that Brian May? Oh, my God. Brian May. The memories, dude. It's good to see your face. All right, so now I want to read to you about protein. Plant-based, Tony, I can't get enough protein. It's a lie, and I'm going to tell you why. Okay, here it is. This is 1 serving of each one of these things, and I'm going to tell you. Chia seeds, we all know what they are. 5.5 grams of protein per 2 tablespoons, which is nothing. Sprouted whole grain bread, so you're going to have to look at the label. 6 grams of protein per slice. 2 slices, there's 12. Bang. Like I get, what's that? What is it? It's flourless, so it's not gluten-free. Ezekiel bread. And you go to Whole Foods, flourless Ezekiel bread. All kinds of flavors. There's a ton of 6 grams of protein, which is kind of amazing. So I put the chia seeds in my shake, and I put in heaping tablespoons. Quinoa, good old quinoa. Quinoa, do you know that quinoa has all 9 essential amino acids? You're welcome. There he is. There's Brian May. Brian May for real. Right in front of my face with a thumbs up. I'd love to see you, dude. Quinoa, 8 grams per cup. Hemp seeds, 6.5 grams per 2 tablespoons. Good old whole oats, 11 grams of protein per cup. Nutritional yeast, I guess that's how I'm saying, 8 grams per 2 tablespoons. Broccoli, we know what broccoli is, 4 grams per cup. So you got to take a cup, but you know, cook it. Everybody eats at least a cup. Lentils. Lentils are the #1 bean for protein. Never forget that for the rest of your life. You're learning it here. Lentils, 18 grams of protein. That's as much as most protein powders. Most protein powders, scoop one, scoop two, condensed, blah, 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 in your shake is 20 grams. Lentils, lentils are unbelievable. They're so yummy and so tasty. And by the way, per cup, pinto beans, 15.41 grams per cup. And I ain't even done yet. All right. Here's subcategories. I don't have grams per. Edamame, chick beans, mung beans, fava beans, lima beans, green peas, wild rice, pistachios, almonds, Brussels sprouts, asparagus, avocado, spinach, collard greens. Now, if you bought all this stuff and you put it in your house, you would eat it. You'd figure out how to cook it and you would eat it and you would get skinny and your digestive system would work like a dream. Your digestive tract would never be inflamed. In your stomach, you'd take perfect poops all the time, like double tapered baseball bats, right? You wouldn't even need to wipe. That's what this kind of food is. But Reese's peanut butter cups doesn't do any of that. It just makes your brain rot and it gives you cancer later. It's all choices, man. Either you do it or you don't. One is hard, one is easy. The hard one gives you a long, incredible life so you can get on a bike with me and Sean in Italy and get on the Appian Way and then go ski Jackson Hole without thinking twice about it. Or you die young. And in the last 5 to 15 years, your life sucks. Right? Raise your hand if your parents had all kinds of health issues at the end. Like a lot of, yeah. Raise them up. None. Brian? No, really, your parents are killing it. Are they plant-based? I love that. Both my parents died. Well, my father died under unusual circumstances. He choked, which was, terrible way to die. But my mother died much younger than her parents did. She smoked and drank a lot of scotch, you know what I mean? And she worked out once in a while. She played golf and tennis. But she was under tremendous amounts of stress, my mother. And it was because of my father. But that's another, another family, another American story. So, whatever. I'm a Horton. Hortons are stressful people. That's what we are. It's in our genetic. We're English, Irish, and Italian. We're like, oh my God. So my genetics are such. And I think I've talked about epigenetics. Everybody, raise your hand if you do not know what epigenetics are. You don't know. Oh, okay. Anybody else? Genetics are the thing that you're given by your parents. And however they died, if you behave like them, you will die like them. It's not like you get to live an extra year longer, especially in our environment these days. Chances are you'll probably die at a younger age than your parents because their food back then, the 50s, 60s, whatever, wasn't as processed and there wasn't as many environmental problems. But epigenetics is when you make dramatic change in your behavior different than your parents, which literally changes your genetics in your lifetime. So that's kind of where I'm living. Like my parents were not plant-based. My parents did not work out 6 days a week. My parents were stressed out and drinking booze all the time. You know what I mean? There was a lot of in our family, and I have some of that too. But partly the reason why I didn't have kids is because I didn't want to deal with a kid like me. Holy smokes. Because I can't imagine raising this guy. And Shauna, same thing. All right, she had a lot of tumult growing up, and she just didn't want to have that anymore. So there you go. That's the Tony talk. And now I want to get into some other things first of all, let me get into some of the questions that I've been getting lately. And then after I ask, and I don't know how much time everybody has. I don't know how long this is supposed to be. And then again, Monique and or Mary, if you can continue to put up all the stats, if you guys want to scroll back, you can see on the Paragon, it's at the Courtyard Marriott in Santa Ana, Orange County. There's an address. It tells you day 1, tells you day 2, tells you day 3, tells you day 4, what we're doing. Also, Mary or Monique, if you have our speakers, you can pop their names up there and I can talk about them as well. So, and after I read these questions, and these are things that come from social media, and I think you'll be surprised about some of the answers because I have no reason to pull any punches or make anything up because that's just stupid. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, lucky 11 questions. Are we ready to play? If you could choose one historical figure in the world to train, who would you pick and why? I didn't even think of an answer for that yet. Historical figure. Look, I've trained historical figures, Sean Connery, Shirley MacLaine, Billy Idol, Tom Petty, Bruce Springsteen, blah, blah, blah. Half of Fleetwood Mac, already. Uh, I train. Probably not a politician. I don't want to help those people. Um, I, I would have loved, okay, out of the blue. How fun would it have been to just to hang out with Abraham Lincoln and teach him how to jump rope or whatever it was? And that'd be pretty cool. You know what I mean? Like just, hi, Abe, I'm your trainer. You're my 4 o'clock. Let's go. I know you got things to do today. Just to meet, or Ben Franklin would be cool, or Sir Isaac Newton would be good. You know what I mean? Like real, or Till the Hun. He probably had a pretty good workout situation, throwing spears, whatever he was doing. Um, okay, next question. What is your go-to pump-up song or playlist when working out or dancing to? I have two that I like. I'm playing a lot lately. I have others. One is called Fresh Groove. The other one's called, I apologize for the French, it's called Fresh Shit. I just named it Fresh Shit. I thought, why not? And in those, Mary's probably heard them during plyo 100 times. There's a lot of funk, there's a lot of rock, there's a lot of alternative, um, and something that has a beat that goes like this. Bang, 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 just something that makes me want to go. And there's everything. There's Zeppelin there, and there's B-52s, and there's The Cure, and there's the Police, and there's Justin Bieber. Yeah, there really is. There's Justin Bieber on that playlist. If you had to choose one workout to describe your personality, what would it be? Oh my gosh. I should have looked at these before I read them to you guys. One workout. Look, I love chest and back. You know what it is? It would be my Sunday ninja workout for sure. The pegboards, the ropes, the ninja course, the 4-ball push-ups, a lot of stuff out of P90X2. Um, uh, and that describes my personality, because every one of those things that I do on a Sunday is skill based. It requires a certain amount of athleticism. I'm not just squatting. I'm not just lunging. I'm not just doing curls. I'm not just doing lat pulls. I'm not just bench pressing. I'm not just doing push-ups. These are all great things in any combination on any given day. But I like things that are a little bit scary and take a long time to learn how to do. Like the pegboard. We got the pegboard. I had one in high school. I couldn't do it at all. I'd pull out one peg and I'd fall straight to the floor. So I had one made in my 40s. And I was terrible. I could do a bunch of pull-ups. But the minute you pull a peg out, this arm is doing all the work. This arm has to keep you there so that you can reach up and put the next one and pull, right? So that's called lock-off strength. Never had it. Now I go around the pegboard like a monkey on the moon. It's kind of easy for me now, because it was really, really, really hard, or I should say it was tough until it wasn't. And that takes me back to Paragon. You're going to be at some of these events and you're going to go, I ain't doing that. I ain't gonna do that. I don't want to do that. That seems super scary. And then that'll be your prerogative, and you don't have to do it. You can watch others and cheer other people on, because we learned through my little session here today that cheering on others and helping others feels as good as actually doing it yourself. And that is absolutely true. And you've probably experienced that before. You know what I mean? Or you'll try one sort of simple thing. Like we've had people here who still have some weight to lose. They're not terribly athletic, don't do skill-based exercise, and they blow their own mind. Like they get I don't know how many people, they look at that 15-foot rope with the bell at the top and they go, "This is insane." And they get up maybe halfway, 3/4, and then they get all freaked out and they watch others, and they go up a second time, which takes amazing amounts of courage, and they get up there and ring that bell. And some people just can't because they don't have the grip strength, right? And part of Paragon, and by the way, do you know that one of the parameters, is that the right word? One of the signs for aging well or living longer is grip strength. That's one of them. Did you know that? Also, being able to go into a deep squat all the way down where your butt's that far from the floor and your ankles and your heels are still on the ground. Like you see people in other countries who are, out in the field, pulling rice or whatever it is. My friend Spencer, who works at Stretch Lab, he sits in that position for a half hour every day. Do you guys know what I'm talking about? I'm talking about, wait a minute. Here we go. if you can do this. I got pants on. Hold on. Here. Right here. Heels on the ground, low as I can go. My butt's maybe 5 inches from the floor. Just like this. My hips are much lower than my knees. That's a sign of aging well. If you can only get here and your heels are way off the ground, that might take you months to be able to get there. So it's tough until it's not. You do your best and forget the rest. The more you do, the better you get. Or you just go, oh no, I don't want to do it. Oh, I'm not good at it. Oh, the third time I'm still bad at it. All right, well then it's just going to be watching Netflix the rest of your damn life. You know what I mean? It's just like, which is great. There's so much good stuff on Netflix and Hulu and all of it. I love it too. But I do all of it. You know what I mean? Okay. So where was I? Yeah. So that ninja thing. And by the way, that personality that I have now about that is the antithesis, the opposite of how I was as a kid. If I couldn't do something halfway decent as a kid, can't do it. I assumed, and maybe a lot of adults still think that way, but you don't have to, because that's not the right way to think, because it's not true, first of all, right? The more you do, the better you get. Do your best, forget the rest, right? It just takes time. Change takes time, especially as we get older. But I was just a quitter. I was your number one quitter, man. I just, and then I just read every damn one of these personal development books back here and said, that's the journey, man. The journey is falling down and getting up and falling down and getting up and falling down and getting up and not getting frustrated, which I still do a little, and not judging it, which I still do a little, because I ain't perfect, man. You know what I mean? But like, all right, I got to come back. Brian Palatucci, what you guys know Brian's program on the platform on Power Nation. We had this really hard ninja sequence that took a lot of us. It took Vache and some other guys a year to figure it out. But now most of us are getting through it. Salmon ladder, bang, bang, go to the balls, boom, boom, go to the ring, then go to the vertical thing, then swing, the monkey bars, then the rings, I'll let them go all the way back and do a backflip at the end. Like none of us could do it. And now almost all of us can do it because it took months. I took Andy Lawrence 1 year, 3 months. Right? He's got little hands. He had no grip strength, but he just kept coming. And he's like, I can't believe I can do the stuff I can do now. And it's just so fun to watch. Right? And everybody has how far do you want to go? How hard do you want to work? How badly do you want it? If you have the mentality that I had as a kid, then you don't get to do anything or experience anything. All you do is just say, wah, a lot of wah, I can't, I quit. So, and that's what Paragon's about. You're going to be sitting in a lot of chairs, listening to experts, piling in information. You'll be, use your phone, however you want to get that information. A lot of people like to write it down in journals and stuff, which I believe we will providing for you, and a pen, high-end event. And that's what the whole idea behind Paragon, the whole idea behind a conversation that I'm having with you all right now is to disseminate information to get you to think in such a way that is the opposite or new to the way you're thinking now. And I know a lot of you have been to the mountaintop, lost the weight, got in shape, boom, 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 and then something happened along the way and you fell off into the valley. Raise your hand if you've been to the mountaintop and fell back into the valley. And keep your hand, people now, keep your hands up, keep them up if that thing is awesome. It is not. It is not awesome. So we need refreshers. Like I keep out breaking out old books. The only reason why I exercise consistently is because I have like 40 people on email invite lists, right? I got the Tuesday crew, I got the Wednesday plyo, I got the Thursday crew, I got the Friday yoga, which I invite 30, but only 2 or 3 come. These poor bastards are all going to end up in big trouble later. But what can you do? Saturday, I either go for a hike or I take it off because I get a day off. And then Sunday, it's 4.5 hours of just blood, sweat, and guts out there climbing ropes. The other day was plyometric rope climbing, max pull-ups coming down in an L plyometrically. I'm 66. There's no way on earth I'm supposed to be able to do that. But I keep failing and getting up and failing and getting up and failing and getting up. And it makes for a better story. Like, I'm not a natural athlete, not even close. All right, next. Beyond exercise and eating right, what are some lifestyle habits that you believe improve a person's well-being? I named them: food, supplement, stress, and working on your flexibility. That's it, man. I mean, and a mindfulness practice. Do you know there was a Japanese scientist, um, and he had plain old water, and and I don't know if this is baloney or not, but whatever. I've seen this story so many times, and he had people swearing at one beacon of water, swearing and telling them you suck and you're terrible and F you and blah, blah, blah. And the other one was peace, love, and kindness and thoughtfulness. And then he froze the water and he looked at the water, little pieces of the frozen water underneath a microscope. And the water that was yelled at and said you're a loser and everything else had all these deformed, crazy shapes. And the water that was treated with kindness and love and thoughtfulness and had those like that positive energy had these amazing like multi-dimensional beautiful like snowflake shapes. And he did the experiment over and over and over again, get the same result every time. So one of the things, it's how we talk to each other. And some situations are hard. You're under stress, you're depressed, you're sad. There's a lot of stress in your life. It's hard to be all jovial when, somebody approaches you with a thing you don't have an answer to. It's like, oh, I don't know what to tell you right now. But I honestly believe, words, how you use your words. And by the way, let's just say that everybody was always honest and truthful all the time. Think of how everything would change so dramatically as of this very second. But there's so much hyperbole and obfuscation and outright lies and deceit and all this, like I was that way when I was younger, since my life was so hideous, so sad, so depressed, so broke, so single, so whatever. I would make stories up to make me sound like my life was going pretty well. I would just make it up. Tony, how you doing? Well, I got an audition the other day I got a call back for a Heineken. I'm really excited. I'll probably get it. I didn't have an audition. I was in bed. Like all the time, because everybody else seemed to be doing pretty well. By the way, here's a book for you that you'll love. Oh, shoot. Oh, oh, oh. Dang it. It's called Romancing the Shadow. Maybe I've talked about this before, and I'm digressing because I still have more questions. Have I talked about Romancing the Shadow before? Anyone? Anybody? Does this sound new to you? New? Romancing the Shadow by Stephen Wolfe, PhD. I took his course and I was in a Romancing Shadow. I don't want to call it a therapy group, but it was kind of like a people trying to figure out what they were supposed to be doing. It helps you distinguish between your bullshit self and your real self, right? So a lot of people are living this one because they're so insecure and their ego is so out of control that they want to present themselves as something other than they are. So they did what I did when I was younger, and they're just living a fantasy, as opposed to going, hey man, things are hard right now and they're not going great, but I'm working on it, and that's all I can tell you. You know what I mean? As opposed to going, I got a commercial and I'm really doing well. I got a bunch of money in the bank. Look at my new car, and you know what I mean? Look at my watch. All that silliness. Romancing the Shadow, Stephen Wolfe. You're not going to want to deceive or lie to anyone ever again, because it's just some super horrible negative energy. Share with us one thing we might not know about you. Oh boy. Okay, you do know this, and I've told you before, and here we go. The hair is mine. Real. That's the color. That's how it grows out of my head. I don't know why. There is some grease in there to make it look darker than it really is. But if you look closely, there's a couple gray hairs. The beard, totally dye it to match the hair. This is white as white. This is black and white. This is black, white, red. I don't know. This is like, it's like three different people's faces. So I just slap it on to match the hair. There you go. Now you know. Tell the word. I don't care. What are your thoughts about intermittent fasting? Anybody here ever do intermittent fasting? Yeah. Who's never tried it? Never tried it. Oh wow, you guys. So I'm gonna, if you can be patient. I knew that question was coming, so I wanted to read it. How does intermittent fasting work? There are several different ways to do intermittent fasting, but they are all based on choosing regular time periods to eat and fast. For instance, you might try eating only during an 8-hour period each day and fast for the remainder of the time. So 8 hours, you stop at 9, you don't eat again until noon or something like that. Or you might choose to eat only one meal a day 2 days a week. So everybody thinks about intermittent fasting. I got to not eat for 3 weeks. There's all kinds of different ways to do it. It's just basically it's a way to help your body heal, help your body bring the inflammation way down, and help your body burn more fat calories than just the food you're eating. There are many different intermittent fasting schedules. As Dr. Matson says, that after hours without food, the body exhausts its sugar stores and starts burning fat. That's all I got to say about that. That's pretty cool. He refers to this as metabolic switching. Because who eats 3 meals a day every day? I've been doing it forever, never bother to just not eat for a day, or right? That's the way I grew up. Breakfast, lunch, and dinner snacks, breakfast every single day. I never gave my body a break, right? He says that after hours without food, the body, okay, I already said that. Intermittent fasting contrasts with the normal eating pattern for most Americans who eat throughout their waking hours. If someone is eating 3 meals a day, I said this earlier in our conversation, plus snacks, and they're not exercising, then every time they eat, they're running on those calories and not burning their fat stores. Intermittent fasting works by prolonging the period when your body has burned through the calories consumed during your last meal and begins burning fat. So my friend Brian Palatucci, you guys, if you're on Power Nation, you've seen his workouts. The fittest, strongest, leanest, he's got like, I don't know, 9% body fat. He stops eating at 6 p.m. and he does not eat again until noon the following day. I mean, and the guy is a god. He's a god. And he said for the first week, he was never more miserable and exhausted in his life. Now, between when he stops and when he starts is when he has the most energy, when his brain is the sharpest, when he feels like he's most creative, when he feels like he's most productive. Because it's not all the blood's going to his stomach trying to figure out what to do with this stuff. So I don't know, that'd be something to try. Are we ready for the next batch of questions? And then we can talk a little bit about Paragon. I'll let you guys go. How to create, all right, here's one. How do you create habits when you just can't stick to them? Anybody have that? Like all the right things supposed to, you just can't stick to them? Raise your hand. Anybody? It's just hard on a daily basis. You know, for me, when it comes to the fitness thing, you know, it's purpose, plan, and accountability. You guys have heard me say this 15 billion times. My reason for exercising all the time is because if I don't, I'm miserable. I can't physically do things. I'm super moody. I don't sleep well. I crave garbage foods. And because I'm 66, sarcopenia is on me. It's on me like white on rice. It's on me, right? So when I went to Jackson Hole and I was skiing and I was working out periodically, but I was thinking I'm skiing and shoveling snow. I came back here weak as a chicken, man. You know what I mean? Because all the things that I normally do, the ninja wasn't there, the chest and back wasn't there, the shoulders and arms wasn't there. My regular, I think I did yoga once in 6 weeks. And you know, so that's where I was struggling. So when it comes to the fitness thing, Mary's over there and Brian's over here and Steven's over here and Vatsi's over here and everybody's over here all the time. I got a tribe, I got a team, I got a crew. And I invite them all, and I invite them I invite them the day before. And then we're in a pattern now after 20 years of doing this. Everybody knows when the workouts are and who's invited to what. Either you come or you don't, right? And they come like Stephen Clark drove an hour and 20 minutes at the crack of dawn to come to my house to do shoulders and arms today. Because he knew that the chance of him doing it himself, bupkis. I personally would not get in a car and drive an hour and a half to hang out with me, but he did. And when it comes to food, everything I've already talked about food, I know what good food does for me. I know what good food allows me to do. And I figured out how to make good food taste good. I don't eat burgers. I don't eat cheese. I don't drink alcohol. I have entire categories of foods that don't serve me. And this is the one thing you learn from Michelle Pettis. It's the only thing, one more thing. She does not eat anything. She'll look at something and say, does this provide the maximum amount of nutrients and vitamins and minerals that will help my body function at its best? Cheeseburgers don't do that. White flour doesn't do that. Alcohol doesn't do that. Candy doesn't do that. Donut doesn't do that. Da da da. And you know the list, right? Fruits, vegetables, whole grains, lean proteins, and healthy fats do that. That's what she eats. She's figured out where to go to get it. She figures out how to order that on a menu, and she knows how to make that. And if you did that too, you would be whatever. You'd be lean as could be. You'd have tons of energy. You'd sleep like a baby, and your sex life would go kaboom through the roof. What is my nighttime routine? So I'm not here. My nighttime routine is all over the place. I don't have any kind of routine. I try to stop eating like around 9 p.m., which is not ideal. That's 3 hours after Brian's done. But, hold on. Seems to work for me. And so, but after 9, right? And in the morning, I'll have nothing or a shake. So I do kind of follow Brian's thing before noon. If it's a workout day in the morning, because some of my workouts are at night, some are in the morning. If it's a workout day, I pound like a pre-workout, which is, not much. And then I'll do the workout, and then I'll have my shake around 11:30 noon. And if it's not a workout day in the morning, I don't eat anything until noon. And that's my, not really my nighttime routine. And I usually watch a lot of TV because there's so much good stuff on television. And Sean and I will just binge watch whatever, Anybody see Landman? Anybody watch Landman? Oh my God. Yes. Sherry, come on. With what's his name? I like potatoes. What's his name?
Oh heck.
Robert Downey Jr. No. Whatever. It's just great. It's about Texas oil and about the whole thing, and it's just well acted. And by the way, Sherry, did you notice the last episode? Bobby Stevenson had a big role.
Yes. Yes.
Bobby
yes.
from P90. Yes. And I didn't even know. Like months before, 6 months before. Yeah, I'm doing this thing with
Billy Bob Thornton.
Billy Bob Thornton. And it's called Landman. Oh, okay. And then 6 months go by, and then he doesn't bring it up at all. And then you're just sitting watching the show, and about halfway through his scene, I'm going, hey, that's that thing. So that's my nighttime routine. Are there any meal prep companies that you would recommend other than Fire Road? I've tried them all, man, and I'm miserable after about 3 weeks on every one of them. I just can't. I haven't found the magic one yet. Sean has been cooking for me, and yeah, I'm probably skinny right now because I can't find any decent ways to feed myself. And of course, Thursday. Wait a minute, is that the same group of questions? No, that fasting question was on both pages. Yeah, I don't know. If anybody knows of a really good home delivery food thing that doesn't cost an arm and a leg, I'm dying to know. Hi, Angie. And but yeah, look, I have my shake, and then Shauna, when she left, she's in Phoenix for 5 days. She made 2 double vats of cabbage veggie soup stew. It's soup-ish, but it's more stew-like. And then I go to Whole Foods, and then there are these Kate and Andy's. They're like whatever. They're like $9 a big ass jar of same thing, kind of like what she makes, and I just put brown rice in it. Yeah, what have I eaten lately that's interesting or exciting? I eat a lot of multi-grain flourless Ezekiel bread with avocado or with guacamole on it. That's almost 3 days a week. You know what I mean? That's just gold. Just yum that. And then Brian Palatucci, he makes sourdough bread. His family makes it. It's their thing. Like during COVID, they were just making loaves of bread, and one of those will come by like once every 9 days, and I slice it so thin, and I put it in the toaster, and I get it just like not toasty, but really the edges are toasty and it's soft in the middle. And I put that. And Sean has taught me how to make this guac. It's salt, it's garlic salt, it's cumin, and um what's the hot powder? I forget. Anyway, whatever, like, just a dash, and mix it all up. And then I keep adding more. And I'll take an entire avocado and I'll put it on big pieces, and that's something. But I think my thing is more about what I don't eat than what I eat. Like all those foods that I don't eat and all that alcohol, that's like, okay, so let's say everybody here had heroin on their list. No heroin. Not gonna do the heroin. Maybe cocaine. Those two, you're not gonna have those on your list. All right. Alcohol is on that list. Cheese is on that list. White flour, simple carbs is on that list. They're all on that same list with heroin, right? Because they're all causing inflammation. They're all causing me to die young. They're all causing my hypertension, gout, cancer, whatever. You are what you eat. Jack LaLanne said it in the 1940s. You are what you eat. And so he lived to be 96 years old, and he probably would still be alive because he still worked out like it was the last day on earth with pneumonia, and he shouldn't have done that. And I think that killed him. But his wife, Elaine LaLanne, you all know Elaine LaLanne, the fact that of all the women in the world, his name was LaLanne, and he married a woman named Elaine. She just turned 99 years old. Because she walks the walk and talks the talk. You know what I mean? Yeah, she still works out. I mean, her hearing is going and her vision is going, but she gets around, goes up the stairs, 99 years old. And her parents died in their 70s and 80s. Genetics, epigenetics. This one's easy. This one takes effort. You have to decide which one. Here's what I want to say about Paragon. Paragon is, we've had a lot of them here. This one's going to be in Santa Ana. We're going to have access to the Real American Ninja Warrior course. There's easy courses, there's hard courses, there's other options that day. I'm going to be doing workouts. Jesse Graff's going to be doing workouts. Ted McDonald's going to be doing yoga. We're going to have Tracy Morrow do a leadership talk that's going to be mind-bending. We're going to have Tammy Murphy is going to be talking about that blood work stuff that I've talked about, and you're going to be able to sign up, and she can work with you, and she can do it over the phone. She's in upstate New York, and you can be anywhere in the world. She'll just say, here's your blood panel. Go to your doc. Okay, now you and I are going to get on the phone or a Zoom call. We're going to talk about what that says. Like I just had my blood work done, and I've been pretty spot on. The stress thing was what's always was screwing up my blood panel. I didn't know. Like stress is like an air. It's just out there. It's hard to touch. It's just life. But because of my breath work, I do box breathing 3-4 times a day, all the time, because I'm not really a meditator so much. And it came back. I'm not here to pat myself on the back while I tell you how good my blood work was. It came back perfect. She goes, your cholesterol, perfect. My testosterone was in the 800s without HGH or anything else. Because when I do push-ups, I do them to the point where blood comes out of my ears. Kidding. But you know what I mean? Like when I do yoga and I'm in Warrior 1 or 2, I'm as deep as I can go. Right. And if I'm, you can ask Mary, she's back there watching me do my thing. And it was like, she's like, sure you're not taking any? No. You know what I mean? The human body and the human brain, when they're working together and you're doing everything right, it's freaky who you can become. And this is the laziest guy in the world. I love to procrastinate. I don't really like exercising. I want cookies all the time. But I'm behaving the opposite of what I want to be and who I am. Because it feels cool. It feels great. It's fun as hell. You know what I mean? Like, I can't believe it. I can't believe it's going pretty well so far. You know what I mean? And the judging thing. I don't judge stuff anymore. I don't care so much about what people think, except about my hair. I do care about that a little bit. And my dyed beard. Yeah, being honest with yourself, I mean, and being honest with others, it sort of takes the burden off, you know what I mean? As opposed to, there's a friend of mine, I still call him 33 and a third man. He found out once, he goes, I saw a seminar online and it sounded like you were describing me. I go, well, why? Well, you were saying a friend from high school, oops. He's 33 and a third man because 33 and a third of what he says and does is true-ish. 33 and a third of what he says and does is a ridiculous, gross exaggeration that Doesn't resemble the truth. And the other 33 and a third percent is just made up. Lies and nothing but lies. And so when you're with him, you're trying to decipher which of the three he's being in that moment. That's a guy who needs to read Stephen Wolf's book, Romancing the Shadow. I'm a product of trial and error, falling down, getting up, and reading about ways to be better and be happy. Because it's about joy, happiness, and laughter. Joy, happiness, and laughter. Raise your hand if you've got that every day. Joy, happiness, and laughter. Yeah, good. You're done. You're done. Forget everything I just said. Doesn't matter. Right? So, who watches Sebastian Maniscalco? Anybody? Anybody who does not know who Sebastian Maniscalco is? Oh my God, get ready. Write it down. Write down that name. Sebastian Maniscalco. And go on Netflix or whatever he's got. Like, I don't know how many specials. Sean and I flew to Vegas to see this guy. Like, I don't leave the house. I got on an airplane and went to Vegas to get amongst a bunch of strangers in a crowded room like a year after COVID and laughed my. Oh my God. It was, and he's clean. It's clean. It's not, doesn't, you maybe know the difference between, blue comedy and clean. He'll throw a swear word in it once in a while just for effect, but it is something to watch, man. I mean, laughing is priority one for me. It always has been. It's the reason why we sold 11 million copies of P90X, because it was silly in places, Paragon, Santa Ana. Go to Paragon EXP to sign up. If you have questions and you're still struggling and you want to learn and you want to still get on the early bird price, which I think is still up. Is that right, Mary? Yeah, all right. Well, the price of this camp has as much or more value than the last 7 camps, not combined, and it's 1/4 the price. That's the reason why we're having it there. And I think that you can call the where is it here? Blah, blah, blah. This is for you. Let me know if you're like me to share all this with everyone. This is from Mary Monique. So if I go to the top of the chat, so Mary, do you know what people got to do to go to the Courtyard Marriott to say they're part of the retreat? Do you know that answer? I don't know if Monique or I don't know. I don't see Shauna in here, so I don't know. Blah, blah, blah. There it is. So you guys see that link, Paragon EXP? You click that and you got everything you need to know. There's the website. There's general admission. There's VIP. There's an itinerary there. And then you say, yes, I want to attend. I think you got to fill something out. You'll see a lot of photos of past camps. You got Tammy Murphy's who's speaking, her bio, Tracy's bio, Michael Bradley's bio. You guys got more certifications than Cod's got liver pills. Something my grandmother used to say. Steve Holmes is going to be there doing his thing. Jesse Graff. Andy Lawrence, you guys all know Andy Lawrence Brothers. I was on their podcast. He's going to be there performing for us. That'll be so fun. I'll be up on the stage playing guitar. And then, of course, there's Michelle Pettis, author, speaker, inspiration after gaining and losing over 700 pounds. Yeah, so just go to, go and look around. You're going to see the ninja course. You might do it, you might not. Doesn't matter. We have got plenty of things for everybody to do. And I want you guys and gals, if you're on the fence or wondering, just go in here to Paragon EXP and read the testimonials. These are real testimonials from real people who've been to past Paragons. And if you feel like you want to have that kind of experience, if you feel like you want to find a place physically, mentally, emotionally that you've never been before. Oh, now if I click out of this, am I going to lose you all? God, I hope not. There you are. I'm just going to move it down the screen. Who here is going to Paragon? They're coming to see me in May. Mary. And Angie. Brian, I want you to be there, Brian. I don't care. Do it. Do it now. Do it. I wish you could be there, man. Look, there's a lot of hoops that you got to jump through to be able to show up to stuff like this. Look, I still have a lot to learn. I'm not perfect by any means, but I said no. A lot of it was because of financial reasons. You know, I was broke till I was 43, flat broke, in debt, 60 grand. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know how many I was using credit cards to pay for credit cards. Remember when you could do that? Can you still do that? Did that a lot. But I started saying yes in little increments, you know, little ways, wherever I could. And the books are easy, you know. That's the reason why I'm writing a new book. Right now, it's called Vitality 60 Plus. It's a working title. So if you're over 60, it's a lot of interviews with John Rady and Elaine Lillane and others, and just sort of my philosophy on how to kind of make 60, 70, and 80 awesome as opposed to just, you know, the end. But go to the website, look around, and maybe one or two of you will be there when you weren't really planning on being there prior to this conversation with all of you. We did those Tony talks for 6 months, and I really enjoyed them. I enjoyed talking to all of you. I know there are folks on the website. We don't see a lot of people here. There's whatever, 8, 12, 16 people here, but a lot of people looking in too on Paragon. So those of you that I can't see, thank you all for being here. Did anybody want to ask me anything before I go? Anyone? Sean Murray, what's the name of your dog? He's a good boy.
Rue.
What is it?
Rue. R-O-U-X.
Rue. Rue. Look at Rue. Is he boy? Boy.
Girl.
Girl. Oh. You're a good girl. Yes, you are. Yeah.
Do you hear him talking to you?
That's Rue. It's Uncle Tony. Rue.
Look.
Should I get Charlie Bear? Here, who wants to see Charlie Bear? Anybody? Anybody care?
Yeah.
Yay! Let me get Charlie Bear.
My
Oh,
goodness.
he's not in the room anymore. He left.
My daddy's in.
Charlie Bear. Oh, rats. He departed. He's probably downstairs in the dining room pooping. Who knows? Good Lord.
She was feeling neglected because we wouldn't pay attention to her while we were watching.
Oh, understandable. That's understandable. So no questions, anyone? Nothing? Eeny, meeny, miny, mo? Look at him. Oh, her. That's a different dog. No, that's Brian's dog. Oh, by the way, both your dogs are one on my page, one screen above the other, so it looks like they're in the same room together, which is pretty funny. All right. Well, I thank you. I hope anybody, would want to come to Paragon and hang out and learn a thing or two and hang out with everybody. And right now we got about 50 folks, which is a pretty good size. We have room for more, but Sean and I, you know, it's a lot of work. Mary's involved too, so she's up to her eyeballs in alligators as well, along with our team. But with all this work that we put into this thing to make it what it is, you know, the food, the speakers, the workouts, the rooms, you know, getting everything right, you know, transportation, all that stuff. That's, you know, it's a lot of moving parts. But man, at the end of it, I don't know anybody that hasn't come to this thing and just been in tears in a good way, not from getting hurt, but from just the experience itself, you know, just from the camaraderie and the friendship and everything that's learned along the way. So I hope some of you can, and like I said, just go to the website, look around. It could inspire you. You never know. But I'm going to see Mary there, and I'm going to see Angie there. Appreciate it. Sherry, I don't know why you're not coming. Why are you not coming?
I haven't hit the lottery.
You broke up. What's that? Yeah, what? Oh, rats.
I said I haven't hit the lottery yet.
Oh, all right.
No, it's just not in the budget, but I know.
All right. We'll put it on your Amex card. You'll get miles.
Maybe one day.
I hope so. I mean, we know whatever. We don't know if we're gonna have another one anytime soon, but yeah, I understand. And I've been there, done that, so I understand completely. It'd be nice to hang with you though.
Yeah.
All right, Brian May.
Oh, thank you. I would.
What, Sherry? Did you say?
I said thank you. I would love to one day. Yeah.
Yeah.
Am I breaking up?
No, I heard you. Brian, you still got the roller rink? You do. God dang it. That's cool. Can you wear rollerblades at your roller rink or old school roller skates? Both. Both. Okay. Yeah. God, I miss that. Those were fun days on the roller rink as a kid, trying to see if Sally McLeod would look at me. I don't think she did. Anyway, thank you all so much. Really, really fun. And that's it. That's it from here. Be well. And by the way, hopefully there was something in this today where you went, I need to make this shift, or I need to make that shift. But and just do it. The guilt from not trying at least something and failing is just it just feels awful. So try it and fail and know that you tried. And that's really where the rubber hits the road, you know. That's where the gold is. Anyway, that, you know, and then I don't think I finished the story. So we had this ninja thing, and then we changed it. Brian went and changed it. He put some stupid nylon rope, and none of us, we were all crashing left and right for the last 2 weeks in a row. And my mind goes, put it back the way it was. It's still hot. And then a little tiny, weak, smart voice said, leave it, struggle until you get it. But as of right now, it feels impossible. Even Brian can't figure it out. None of us can figure it out. It's just crash and burn. So it's tough until it's not. So I don't know how long that's going to take, but it'll be interesting. I'll fill you all in. I'll put a post, and when I get it, I'll anybody follow me on Instagram or TikTok or anything else. When I finally get it, I'll post it. All right, everybody. Thank you so much. We'll hopefully see you soon. Maybe.
Yeah.
Is that you, Sherry?
Video.
Oh.
I'm delayed, I guess. Yes.
Who was that?
I said, Sherry. Me.
Hi, Sherry. Sherry, this is what I see. But now you're moving. Talk. Go ahead. Say something. Oh, who's that? Who's that beautiful?
Okay. This is Milo.
Hi, Milo.
He is my he's my niece. I mean my nephew.
Oh,
Put your head
Charlie
up.
is my son.
There he is.
Oh, what a face. What a face. That is great. Dogs, man. What a mindfulness practice.
He's a rescue. He was in terrible shape. Got him.
All three of ours.
Yeah.
You guys know that Teddy passed.
This is a good one, Tony. Thank you.
Yeah, Teddy passed away. That was rough, boy. A lot of tears on that day.
What?
Yeah, he was.
No.
Yeah. And we drove all three to Jackson, and he started coughing and coughing and coughing. I mean, he was coughing here, but and he just fell off the table. Not literally fell off the table, but his health within 5 days. It just oh my God. And then you're there. I've never had to euthanize an animal. I've never had to be there. I mean, we didn't stay. You know, they gave him the medication so he would just fall asleep. But then leaving that shelter, not shelter, but leaving the pound, not the pound, whatever, medical,
The
vet. Thank you. We just sat in the car and sobbed. It's like you go in there with him and you leave without him. It's just insane. It's just insane. Like when Charlie passes, which I don't think he will. I told him not to ever. Nobody talk to me for a year. You won't. I'll be worthless. Worthless. I will be. Oh, I can't imagine. I tell him. By the way, apparently, when you tell your dog that you love your dog, I love you. There's a positive thing inside of their body that happens when you say those words to your dog. So I say it to him 100 times a day. He should never die. He's going to live on love alone. That guy. And by the way, if he's on the floor in front of the sink and I need to go to the sink, I will stand crooked and get in this because I don't want to disturb his perfect moment. I don't want to, like, I'll be watching TV. He'll have his hand, and I got to get up and go to the bathroom. I won't do it because he's happy on my lap. I'm not going to mess with that. Is that weird? I think it's weird. What's weirder, that or dyeing my beard? You decide. I love you all. Thank you so much, and I'll see you next time.
Hey, thanks a lot.
Thank you.
You're welcome. You're welcome. Bye. Bye.
Thank you.
Bye. You know,
I'm glad that you've really enjoyed this interview. I can tell because you're watching it, because I can see you. Anyway, since you're here, I know you're really gonna fall madly in love with this next one. I mean, I'm talking about knowledge consumed by you. All you gotta do is go right over there